So people are gathering. Can I ask you what kind of coordination there's been with Egyptian authorities, if any? Because North Sinai, of course, this is not an easy place to get to. It's a very easily controlled access point. You have to cross the Suez Canal either by bridge or by tunnel. These are very heavily patrolled by the Egyptian security services and the Egyptian military. There's one coastal road on the north that takes you through Arish to Rafah. This is manned by multiple checkpoints by the military and the police. There was a much less well-organized initiative in November of 2023 to try and gather people and bring awareness and take buses, but that eventually fell apart. And the state eventually co-opted it and brought its own kind of supporters to the border in kind of a much more state-managed protest. So what kind of expectation do you have of being allowed to reach Arish, to reach Sinai in the first place? And is there a contingency plan in case Egyptian authorities do not allow these thousands of people to get there?
Yes. Well, our B plan is our A plan. We are going to do all the efforts that we can to arrive to Rafah because that's what we are going to do. This is our plan. We will negotiate, we will make pressure, we will be there. This is a peaceful movement. We have seen how Israel just stopped the Madeleine ship on the Freedom Flotilla. We don't really see the Egyptians in the same perspective. That's an occupier force that is trying to prevent people from making advocacy for human rights and for justice. We see Egypt as an ally. We work in the same line in terms of defending Palestinians and preventing the displacement of Palestinians from Gaza. So from our perspective, there is a common objective there. We don't see any reason why Egypt would stop us. Like we have that that channel of communication of us willing to talk to any representative of the Egyptian authorities. Our statements are very clear, denouncing the Western complicity and the enabling of genocide, and there is nothing in our discourse or our action plans that is targeting Egypt or any of Egypt institutions. On the contrary, the way that we have organized everything, even in terms of logistics, is not to create any internal situation that can impact Egypt or the internal livelihood of Egyptians. In terms of what we have done, everything that is within our hand to make sure that our message arrives correctly and accurately to the Egyptian authorities. So we have sent letters from most of the delegations that are part of Global March to Gaza to the Egyptian embassies in their countries. We had some visits. Melanie can speak about that as she has been also in one of those in different countries: Portugal, Canada, Switzerland, Germany. Trying just to convene that this is a peaceful march. These are our objectives. We are requesting your collaboration. Also, we had some parliamentarian members sending letters directly in our name from different countries and from the European Union to the Egyptian authorities, asking them to allow the march to happen. We have tried to use all the open channels that are within our hand to have that type of connection, and we expect upon arrival for this to continue, for us to have a conversation with the correspondent authority to guarantee the safety of everyone, because it is a top priority, I think, for everyone that we go and we come back with everyone safe on this march, and at the same time to be able to fulfill our objectives and continue our activity to denounce the complicity and to demand an end to genocide and access to humanitarian aid. Yeah, that's what we have tried to do so far.
I think, I mean, we also have to talk about there's the very clear complicity of the United States and Western governments in arming and backing Israel, but also regional governments as well. This is, of course, sensitive to talk about ahead of the trip, but in many ways, Egypt has allied with Israel over the years. It helped enforce the siege of Gaza for the past 15 years. over 15 years. It destroyed the tunnels that provided a lifeline to Gaza. Egypt allowed Israel to conduct aerial bombardment in Sinai when there was, a low-level insurgency happening there. The treatment of Palestinians from Gaza who have been coming before the genocide began in and out through Rafah is notorious for its indignity, the way Egyptian authorities treat Palestinians. And I think the Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and the Egyptian government has been applauded for not acceding to Israel's demands to just allow a mass expulsion of Palestinians into Egypt. But many see this as really he's just afraid of a national security catastrophe. It's not out of love for Palestinians or the Palestinian cause. And they have blocked many efforts over the years for people to express solidarity with Gaza. They are very much do not like demonstrations or big gatherings of people. I hope very much that the large number of international activists will help break this situation in Egypt that we have. But is this something that you're concerned about, going there with a government that is not prone to allowing mass mobilizations, and is also in many ways its policies are circumspect when it comes to Palestine?
Maybe Saif, do you want to go first?
No, please go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to also bring the focus to something that we have not talked about so far, which is racism and white privilege. And I think, this is that was very visible with Madeleine and the Freedom Flotilla, with which we are also in official collaboration. The governments react very different depending on who is subjected to their power. So when it is this is just a fact, right? And this is the reality that we live in, that and now more so, because we see that it's so Palestinian lives, obviously, and it is always said in the subtext of all the governments, they don't matter to them. It's Israeli lives that matter at least 10 times as much. You can wonder, is there a limit at any point? And this is something that this reality we want to use as well, because we know that we have white privilege, and we are not just a white community. It's from delegations all over the world. We are delegations from Morocco, from Algeria, from Senegal, from South Africa, from India and Pakistan. It's so beautiful to see people from all over the place. And in the end, in this world that we live in, this is the system that is in place at the moment. It is malfunctioning on so many other levels, apart from what is happening and going on in Palestine. But it's also a system of internal threats, and where countries have to obey, right? So there is not really, as much as there's not really a free will of the people, there's also not really a free action of countries, I would say, unfortunately, and as much as we say we have democracies in our Western countries, in Germany, I would very much doubt that now, because you can see as soon as you are outside of the politically accepted criticism or things that you can say, then all of a sudden you find yourself in a completely different situation. And so, in the sense, we are all hung up in this whole system of where we depend, and where people and governments do not really decide by themselves.